You know what I mean?
Focus. Fly. Keep growing.
Hey,
what's up,
going
everyone?
on, car guys and
that's
car
loud.
gals? That was really loud up in the air. Good morning, everybody. Live from New York City. This is the Car Guy Coffee Podcast. I am Lou Ramirez, the Car Guy.
And I am Fred Lenartz, the subprime hero.
And we are excited to be sitting
we are.
up inside of Brooklyn, having a
Brooklyn
great time.
soup.
And man, I can't tell you how excited we are to finally get everything positioned properly so that we can have the right interview with our incredible friend, Fred. This has been just a great expectation for an interview. I know we talked about it a lot. We've hyped it up a lot. And now this is actually happening. But
It's
help us
going
out
down.
right now. Everybody, car guys
Sure.
and car gals, do us a favor.
Flavor.
Flavor.
He needs a favor with some flavor in
I
it.
do.
That's
I
what
need
he's
some of
saying.
that. We need to get the linguistics moving.
There you go.
But
He can say
tag
that
a
word.
car guy, tag a car gal, and share.
Because this is one of those episodes that if you share, I promise you, people are going to get so much content, so much value,
Yes,
so many
way
things
better.
that they need right now this morning. If you're ready to get energized and you're ready to go places, I'm going to tell you, we have a special guest that's going to blow your mind.
Yep.
Oh, she's somebody that we've had the chance to see speak. We've had the chance to, and I got the chance. Unfortunately, Lou couldn't make it that morning, but I got to announce her that morning, and that was an amazing thing. Lou still, he still feels bad about that morning, and I know he's going to make it up. I can't wait till we get to announce that her and her crew again, and anyone else in that crew, because they are all amazing women doing amazing things in automotive right now. And all we want to do is just highlight it and just highlight one after another, because the highlighting of this is just fantastic. We've had some great guests on our show. This one right here is one not to miss. So make sure you share, and we're ready to have her come on up.
So let's
get this thing going.
All right, let's go ahead.
You know the deal.
Jam it out, everybody. You got to go ahead and get that head bob going on. Man, this is exactly the music that we felt flowing through our heads as we were walking through the city last night. Had an incredible time. But there is not a light that is inside of this city that's brighter than what this young lady is to the industry right now. And we are excited to highlight her today. Woo! Here we go. Car guys and car gals, help us make welcome the one, the only, Miss Hannah Lifson.
We're so excited. Have her on
There she's in. Bam. Here we
There
go.
she is. What's going on, Hannah? Good morning. How are
Good
you?
morning.
Good morning. How are you guys?
She's probably saying stuff, and I'm drowning her out with the music. Hold on. Here we go. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you this morning?
Good. How are you guys?
We are fantastic. Super excited to have you here this morning. Man, this has been something that we're so glad we got to fit into our schedule while we were here in New York, especially. This is a special edition, a special
Very
group
special
for all you
group.
all out there. And to have you on the show while we're in New York, awesome. This just feels very New York right now. I feel like I'm moving and grooving. I'm Wall Streeting it. I'm doing it all right. And we have our special guest, Hannah. Hannah, thank you for being here. But before we go too far, we're going to get into tons of questions. We're going to ask you a lot of things, and we want to hear your story. But before you do anything, we have these 3 F's that we do with everyone. It's our secret handshake. That's how we do it. You can see it on my shirt.
Oh, okay.
There it is. Forgive, focus, and fly. It's the 3 F's. And then that's how you keep growing, right?
That's
so
right.
we want you to be part of this crew, be part of the club.
That's right.
So in order to do that, you got to do the handshake. And this is it. This is the secret handshake to get into the
Forgive, Focus, Fly Club. This is the Flight Club, right?
This is the Flight
Hopefully
Club.
inside of airports all throughout the world, there will eventually be a Forgive, Focus, and Fly Club section where everybody can forgive the airlines for not getting them where they need to go. But
It's been
before
a
that
big deal this
happens,
year, isn't it?
let's go ahead and lead the way from New York City. Here we go. Hannah, help us to wipe off the weight of unforgiveness, focus on where we're going, and let's fly on 3. 1, 2, 3. Forgive,
focus,
fly, and
keep growing. Keep
growing.
I like
Yes.
that. Handshake.
Hey, there we go. She's right there.
I love it. This is so exciting. Welcome to the club. You are now an official solutionary. So, hello, let's do this. Brew. Right. So, we're pumped up. We're excited to have you here this morning. So, tell everybody where you're from and what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Hannah Lifson. I am the marketing specialist at Friendemic, and I'm here right in the heart of downtown Chicago.
Chicago
by way of San Francisco, right? So
That's
we're
right.
so excited to hear more about that story. I've talked to her. I've asked her a few questions already, and she's just somebody that I'm so excited. I didn't want to ask too much when we were first talking because I really wanted to dig in deep into this episode, but we're really excited to have you here, folks. Rising star. She's always been like somebody behind the scenes, behind the camera, trying to help people grow, trying to show people how to be better on social and all these things, right? And she's actually just right on the money. Now she's turned it over. She's turned a new leaf. I think she's starting to do it herself. So we're excited to hear about that, how you got there and why you're going there. So my very first question I'm going to ask you, Hannah, today, it's your why. You know, it's so important to know what that is and to have that on your focus on the front of your brain all the time. What is yours?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question. It's something that should ground you. It's something you should think about and reevaluate frequently. And as I was thinking about it this morning, what is my why today, right now? What's getting me up in the morning? It's, bigger scheme, and I'll get granular in a second, but largely it's, I want to leave the world, my world, a better place than when I found it. And let me go ahead and get it a little bit granular there. It's really the people around me. I'm a big believer. I don't think I'll be, necessarily single-handedly saving a rainforest or an endangered species, but I really do believe in the energy that you put out is the energy that you get back, as well as paying forward. So every day I really do try to just wake up, glass half full kind of attitude. And, if I can bring a little bit of positive energy into whatever it is that I'm doing, I'm hoping that whoever else feels it, will pass that along throughout their day. I find that when people come in with negative energy or are rude or mean, it just kind of complicates things, makes everybody's day a little bit harder. It can even make their life a little bit harder. So when you come in and you just have that can do, will do, I don't even know what I'm doing, but I'm going to do it with a smile on my face attitude, it tends to progress things for you as well as the others around you. I think energy is really infectious and contagious. So whenever I can enter a room, I like to have a really good laugh, whether it's with friends or coworkers, no matter how serious this topic is. I find that as long as you can always just find like that silver lining or that extra, little tidbit that you can make fun of, even if it's yourself, just the energy is always to continue to be, excited, happy, push that momentum forward. So again, I'm not necessarily saying my why is to change the whole entire world, but at least the world around me, person by person or interaction by interaction.
Incredible answer. Car guys, you see exactly why it is that we are brewing with her. I mean, she already has a formulated approach to putting out the message effectively to make sure you understood her why. That was awesome. I want to put some of the hand claps out there, make sure everybody hears some of that, because that was awesome. And you know what it's like to work it from the stage. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. But she is so in line. She is so right. Car guys, listen, there is an element to understanding who it is that you are and why it is that you're doing what you're doing that is fundamental for you to be able to help anybody do anything else at all, right? And if you don't have that grounded, you don't have that understood properly, then you're kind of caught up in trying to figure out what you're trying to get from everybody else when you don't really know what it is that you're deficient in and what you're excellent in, what it is that you're bringing to the table, right? The key part of any sort of networking is to determine the type of value you have for someone else, not to pull from, not just pull their energy, but to pour into their cup, to have something to offer, right? You show up to somebody's house for dinner, maybe you're bringing something, right? You're bringing a dessert, bottle of wine, whatever it is, a game, something to uplift that moment. Because even though you're coming to the table, don't come empty-handed, right? And don't leave empty-handed. But I'm so glad that we are at the table, and we do have some incredible people that are here with us this morning. I want to say hello to some of the great folks that have came here to support and say hi, and just ask a couple of questions real quick. Let's see who's up in here always consistently. Our boy Tim, what's going on? Tim
Timothy Wilson, what's going on? Great morning to you, brother. Man, this is somebody that I absolutely just love. Just so you kind of get a little bit of a background hand. Timothy, somebody that is in automotive, a vendor, recently did the 75 hard challenge a couple weeks behind me. What a hero stud. He completely motivated me. He lost over 40 pounds during that time. Fantastic. Changed his life. Him and another guy named Eric, both of them did it. And I was just so proud of them both. Both over 40 pounds lost, both of them crushing life, and both of them having tons of momentum in life right now. Yes. And I know it has a lot to do with that habits that they formed during that. So I'm so excited for them. We got Russell Hill, of course. Russell Hill. Absolutely. And he brings that. Cannot wait to hear what you have to share. No doubt, right? Russell Hill's a fixed ops guy, just amazing at what he does. He loves helping out people across the country. Great guy. Got to meet him at the last digital dealer also. Fantastic. Him and his wife both.
Can we spill a little beans about Russ
Hill?
Spill
a little bit of beans, brother.
Fixed ops marketing. Well, folks, they are going to be proud champions of the Forgive, Focus, Fly, and Keep Growing message. They are brewing solutions, and they are helping to bring this brew to more of you. So we are so excited. Be paying attention to some of what it is that we bring from the cafe concerning fixed ops marketing. So excited for him to be part of the family. Welcome. All right, we'll turn that off.
Hitting a weird button. That sounded cool. Hey. It almost sounded like a good beat, like it was about to be a big song.
Like somebody's going to rap. Came to bring it. Oh, this has been such an adventure musically for us too in our heads.
Timothy hits me with, did you get your pizza, Fred? Yes, we did after about a 10-mile walk, but it was so worth it though. All over New York. It was beautiful. It was a lot of fun. Great food up this way. We had street food. We had everything, man. So thanks for asking. We got a lot of people in here just throwing some stuff. We got Ryan talking about
what's
good
up,
morning,
Ryan?
Russell. We got Colby asking about the shirt. Colby, just hit me up. You know the deal. Yep. Then we got Spill the Beans, Russell says.
You can go to carguycoffee.com. Go to Swag Shop.
So he's talking about the partnership here. So happy, LOL. And then, of course, Leanne. This must be a friend of yours. Leanne's like, yes. Yes. So I love it. So excited. We're going to get this thing going. The why was really awesome. You really have a great answer there. I love where your heart's at, where you're going, and that's where it all starts. So we're talking about that why. I know Lou's going to hit you with the second question, but that why is how it all formulates. That's why you're able to get to the next level. When you have that time where you're like, I don't want to do it, focus on that why. Mm-hmm. When you're focused on it, it helps you push yourself a little bit more. It gives you reason to do something, even if you don't want to get out of bed that morning, right? Mm-hmm. Like this morning after a 10-mile walk, I think it was like 23,000 steps. My back and legs were a little tired today, but I had to get up. I had a lot of stuff to do. I'm excited about the day because I have a why. And that's what I love about you. You know what your why is, and you're very focused on that. And you also help other people find theirs. And I could tell that's just who you are. And then and whys can change, so it's okay for those to change. Just stay motivated and stay focused on it. So absolutely.
So good. And again, that's the anchor in which that you do what you do, right? Not everybody finds the automotive industry. Not everybody finds themselves doing the things that you're doing, the things that we're doing, the things that countless other car guys and car gals on the lot and inside of the vendor world are doing, right? From the manufacturer on. This is such a huge industry.
Gigantic.
Massive. Right?
Bigger than we think it is.
But so many people in all industries, right? They get fixed on their why, and it connects them through what it is that they're doing. One thing that is great about what you do is you help others figure out their why and how to communicate it, right? You've recently cut on us a little bit, right? Make sure that our messaging is right, and that's good. That's what we need.
Right? I told him about that. I showed her a couple of my commercials, right. And she was like, they're nice and clean. The video's great. The sound's great, but it's not you guys. And she hit that on the freaking head of that nail like so hard. It really resonated with me.
And it was with me through the rest.
And like I told Lou, and that was free advice. I didn't have to pay for that. So I was so excited about that. And she was on the money, And Lou knew what you were talking about as soon as I told Lou. And I was like, she is literally always on the back of her mind. And that's what I really like about you it's not necessarily your forwardness. It's your your integrity. Like you're a study of the art that we're in, this whole social media art, this whole, being able to get your marketing right and do all these things, and you're in automotive also. And when you see that and you can look at something, literally a 30-second clip and go, that's nice, but that's not you guys. And I love that about you. And that's what I need. That's why I love about having you in my network. I need people like you like that. Because a lot of people are just like, oh, that's amazing.
Right.
And that's all you hear instead of what and maybe it is amazing, but you have an eye for that. That's what makes you special, right? And you make it to where and you don't know us, but you know us, and you know what we're about, and you know that our marketing should be a little bit more about that. And I get that, and I appreciate that about you.
And it was great to have somebody give some of the constructive criticism, and also to just be aware enough of us. Right. But you have to know your approach. You have to know you. And that's what I'm loving, that you're connecting to the automotive industry. So let's get that answered for car guys and car gals that are listening. Hannah, what brought you to automotive?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a funny story. So I always had thought growing up, before I knew I wasn't going to be like a cowgirl or like a fireman or something, that I probably wanted to be in sports marketing. I didn't know exactly what that entailed. I've always loved sports. I grew up playing sports, and I've always had a passion for marketing. So it felt like the perfect blend of the two. I was fortunate enough to land an awesome job right at the tail end of college with the AAA team for the San Francisco Giants. And I thought, wow, I feel like it's a great milestone. I can definitely get my foot in the door into major league if that's what I wanted to do. Sure enough, the season ended, and we had an awesome season, made it to the playoffs, got to get a little bit of taste of what that was like. And I knew they're located in Sacramento. And I knew if one thing, I needed to be in a bigger city for bigger opportunities. Growing up, I grew up very close to San Francisco. So I thought, you know what, let's just head back to the city and see what it has to offer me there. I had applied for 2 jobs. One was with the San Francisco Giants, dream job. And then as I was searching, I also had seen an application available for a startup tech. In San Francisco, that's not that uncommon, but this one was relatively close to where I was living. And I thought, you know what, let's just go check it out, even if it's just for proximity. I went through a few rounds of interviews with the startup tech, a few rounds of interviews with the San Francisco Giants, and within about 3 days of each other, they both offered me the position. One was in the startup tech. They needed help throwing a big party that was coming up in 90 to 180 days, as well as the Giants. They had just finished their season. They had just won a World Series, and they were starting all of their promotions again. And I had to do a little bit of soul searching and a little digging, and what was I going to do? And I figured, you know what? Baseball's like America's oldest sport. It's not going anywhere. But startup tech, San Francisco, I don't know what that future holds. So if I don't go for the startup tech, I'm always going to wonder what happened. And baseball will always be there as my backup plan. So I went ahead and I started with this tech company, this little tech company. There are about 10 employees. However, it was LotLinks, if you guys are familiar with them. What I didn't realize walking into it, though, was sort of my first taste of marketing and automotive was with Dean Evans. I didn't know who he was or what that meant at the time. Same thing with Len Short and Denise Chuddy. These are now I know these are huge, heavy hitter automotive industry luminaries. And I was sort of getting this creme de la creme, approach into what is automotive, what have they done? Just between the 3 of them, they've held some really awesome positions and seen some really amazing things throughout their time. And I was going to be the direct recipient of that. Now, what I didn't know was this party that they needed help throwing was actually for NADA. And they were actually throwing it in conjunction with Mark Boyd, who also is an industry luminary of his own. And Mark and I were able to work hand in hand and put on this fabulous party with hundreds of people. We rented out a rooftop deck, and it went awesome. So my internship that I had initially signed up for turned into a position just shortly after. But while I was at the party, I realized that the people that were attending the party were awesome. All of these vendors and partners and people within the industry, I found it really comfortable walking around the room, introducing myself, connecting with them. These just felt like good people, and it felt like a good place to be. Fast forward to once day one of me actually getting hired, my CEO at the time called me and said, "Hey, can you be in Florida in 3 days?" And I said, "No problem. What do you need me to do?" And he said, "Oh, we're going to do a trade show." And I said, "Great. When do I come back?" He said, "Well, you don't. It's going to be 3 months. It's 18 cities. And I need you to just be on the road." And he had signed us up for a General Motors road tour, the GMIMR tour, if you guys are familiar with that. And I just hopped on a plane. And this is where I really found that I actually love the dealers as well. This really threw me into going from every metro major market in America. And I got to meet hand to hand, face to face with every single dealer, General Motors dealer. And now I knew I loved the vendor side of things from the big networking parties at NADA. But now I really found that, hey, these dealers are a lot of fun. Like, these guys and these women sure know how to have a good time. And it didn't matter where you went. It was like the same mentality, and it was meeting almost the same person over and over again for 18 cities. And I had a blast. So it's sort of those three events, NADA hosting the party, going on a road show, meeting the dealers. I thought to myself after about a year, I was like, all right, first of all, the year is like a dog year. It felt like 7. And I think anyone in automotive can agree there. But also I think I found sort of my sweet spot. I really enjoy the people, the caliber of people, conversation, and then even just from a personal perspective, being at the forefront of cutting edge technology. No matter if I wanted to leave this industry, I would always be a little bit ahead of the curve because I'm seeing it firsthand. AI, I heard about it first time in automotive. Automation, I heard about it first time in automotive. So there's a lot of really cool things that I think, we sort of get a taste of before other industries do. And I've always thought it's given me a little bit of an upper hand if I ever wanted to move into another industry. So that was almost 10 years ago. And a few different companies, a few different positions later, but now I know I'm stuck here. And it's been really fun. Definitely not looking back. I still have baseball in the corner if I ever needed it, but I think I made the right decision.
We know you made the right decision, and we're really glad that you did, because you're really already making changes happen in your world, and this is automotive, And if you wanted to, you could do anything. There's no doubt. Like with the skill set that you have, with the understanding of having to be on the edge of your comfort zone, if not be uncomfortable, understanding that every time you do something like that, you're going to be more when you learn and you educate and you put work behind all your faith. And you do that, and you work extremely hard. You are a driven young person, man or woman. You're just driven, period. And you have so much of a future ahead of you, because you're always going to be looking for that next way to get on the edge of that comfort zone. You're always going to be looking for a way to educate yourself so you can be ready for the next thing that's coming. You talked about, first time you heard of things, AI, all these things, automotive, right? But all these things translate to everything in the world. It just depends on what you want to do in whatever sector that you're in. I think that you found a really good medium where you really achieved in automotive, but I believe that skill set, I know that skill set translates to a multitude of things. There's a reason why you went from where you're at, came over, and you did well, because you were able to be adjustable, right? Be adaptable. And that's kind of like, that's our fourth core value when it comes to solutionary. So I already knew you were one. You have that inside you, right? And you're doing all the right things. We have people talking about how amazing that is. Russell Hill's down here talking about, he loves your attitude. Life begins at the edge of your comfort zone. And now here you are, right? And then he's talking about gotta love the car business. He also says, wow. Right. And that is amazing by her. And it is amazing, and we're so glad and so fortunate to have you in the automotive industry. If you left, I'd be sad. Yeah. But I know I'd be excited for whatever industry you're in. And as a friend, I'd be excited for you, because I know that if you left this industry, it's for something that's big, something that's going to change your life even more, something that's going to make you even more uncomfortable. And that's what I encourage all my friends to do. Get uncomfortable a little bit. Get used to being uncomfortable. It's actually fun. Unless you're flying across the country in an airplane, you want to be comfortable. I get it, right? But when you're like working and you're driven and you're trying to grow in automotive and business in general, in life, get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know, it's even in relationships. You can't just be comfortable, because then that will turn bad. Relationships can get sour if you, and I don't want to say take advantage. It's when you don't pay attention, if you don't constantly woo the person there. Look for what makes them driven, makes them excited about you, right? Put them on the edge a little bit. And I love that. And I think that you do that with all aspects of your life. And you know, I think that a lot of these things we have inside of ourselves. We grow, we learn. We don't have to really need an outside source. We're just naturally that way. So I'm sure a lot of your stuff that you have is just natural ability. But there's been people along the way that have given you tips, just like you've done for a lot of other ones, right? If you were to say somebody, or maybe multiple people, it doesn't matter. This is your show, and we want you to say what you want. But who would you consider the mentors in your life that have really helped you get to where you're at today?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think first and foremost, of course, I have to say my parents. They're the lights of my life, and they're amazing. They've taught me, I could say, everything I've known. But really, a lot of the things that I didn't necessarily think of as hard skills growing up, but don't come innately to a lot of people, are things like networking, or things like hosting a party, things like, you know, being comfortable to speak in front of a room of people. And growing up, I'm the youngest of three, and my older sisters and I are almost 10 years apart. So I was always like the little sister. Nobody wanted to play with her. So I got stuck at the adults table a lot. You know, even at Thanksgiving, they always put a place for me right next to them. And I ended up always kind of hosting, or like working the room, or like making a joke. And I didn't realize that for years, I was sort of doing what I would be doing in my professional career. Both of my parents had owned a restaurant. They were in the food and beverage business. And I didn't realize how much even just knowing a little bit about a bottle of wine could go at a dinner conversation. Or, you know, they taught me so many of these little funny, small things that were awesome just growing up and being good for conversation. But they definitely have helped with the trajectory of my career, just being able to network, to wine, to dine, which for a long time was a big portion of my role. But outside of, you know, my parents always pushing me forward and saying, do whatever you want to do. Within the industry, there's definitely 4 people that I thought of right away. Number one being Mark Boyd, who I mentioned. He definitely has taught me the power of connection. He and I had, after that NADA party, we hosted dozens of events together. But and if you know him personally, you'll know this to be true. He has a really amazing way of being able to walk through a room, hear something, and say, hang on one second, let me introduce you to X, Y, and Z. And whether that's going to be a personal connection he's making or a business connection he's making, it always works. He is so good at bringing people together for whatever their needs are. That's definitely something I've tried to emulate in my own life. If the conversation isn't relevant to me, that's fine. But who else can I bring this conversation to that it could change their life, or it could be part of their business, or it could impact them significantly? And he for sure is the master of doing that, and has given me little tips on, you know, sort of what to listen to or what to hear for and when to make those connections. Secondly, I'd also like to talk a little bit about Pat Ward. If either of you guys know him, he really taught me the power of camaraderie. Pat is probably best well known for his time at Jag Land Rover, running the fixed ops department there. He also spent quite a bit of time getting Saturn up and launched, as well as he launched a few of the first EVs. So pretty well known in the industry, but he attributes a lot of his success to not just what's going on the outside world, but really what's going on inside the team and the camaraderie that's built there. He's the king of transparency. And I think that's what's been able to make his team so strong, and he's been able to accomplish so much. And he would never say, these are my accomplishments. He always is the first person to say, the team did this, or we did this. And that's something that I always try to bring forward at any of my positions. It's never a me thing. It's always a we thing.
Yes.
I think that's really important to get that backing around you, to have that support system around you. And as you're elevating, to always ensure everyone else around you is elevating.
Absolutely.
And then also, Wesley Miller, big mentor of mine, also one of my best friends. Wesley was one of the first people I met when I moved to Chicago. And he really taught me the power of going the extra mile. If anyone knows Wesley, he will stay up till 4 a.m. and run reports. He will take people to a Britney Spears concert if it's what they want to do, and it'll
Awesome.
close the deal. I mean, you name it, he's gone to people's 50th wedding anniversaries. Like, he will put he's really good at blending personal and business, to the point where you're like, is this business? Is this personal? He's so unbelievably good at riding that delicate line of always putting the customer first and always ensuring that they feel, they are his most important client. And every client should feel that way. Every client thinks that they're the VIP in your book of business. And he is the king of that. Whether it's, I'll get on a plane tomorrow to see you, I'll pull that report, I'll do something that's way outside of my scope of work to ensure that, this relationship goes beyond, whatever that month over month bill is.
Yes.
Right.
And then last and finally, of course, is Denise Chetty. She's a mentor to me on multiple levels. But something that she's definitely taught me is no job is too big and no job is too small. So, she's been owners, CEOs, CMOs, CFOs of companies. But when it comes down to it, she is never afraid to roll up her sleeves and get back out into the world of the data, or, speak to current clients, even if they're the tiniest independent dealership. It doesn't matter what the scope of the work is. Even if you get to that C-level suite, you can always get back into the trenches with the rest of your team. And you need to have a pulse on what's going on with your team, as well as on the flip side of things. She's always shown me that, hey, just because you're not doing this job right now doesn't mean you're not capable of it.
Right.
She always said, push for more, go for more, be bigger, dress for the job that you want, not the one that you have.
Boom.
There's always something bigger out there for you, and just start reaching for it. So, you can always scale back and go back to what you used to do, but you should always scale up and do something bigger and that that you're destined for. Don't let anything ever hold you back from it.
That is some uplift kind of.
Oh, I want those 4 people in my life.
For real.
Mark, Pat,
Wow.
Wesley, and Denise. Y'all are some superstars, and you guys are just awesome people that she just honored. Oh, man. And that's one of the key ingredients to all life, is to always honor people. And honoring isn't just talking about them. It's about, when they teach you something that works for you, you honor them by doing those things. Like honoring your parents is like when they raised you and they gave you life skills, you use those life skills. That's how you honor your parents. It's a beautiful thing, and you do that. And man, do you know exactly why each one of those people, influenced you? And I love how you broke it down to each one and how they did it, and even different levels of where you got to today. And without those 4, it's not saying that you wouldn't be successful, but maybe it would have took a little more time. Maybe you would have had a couple more mistakes happen on the way, but instead they gave you some blueprints because they wanted you to be successful, just like you do with everyone that you're around, the people you surround with, whether it's your peers or people that you lead or people that you're following. All those things it's a cycle. It's it's like the circle of life, right? And I love that, and you have that, and you understand that, and that's powerful.
A whole lot of power inside of that, and making sure that the honor is there because you're retaining what it is that they're putting inside of your cup. It's one thing if somebody's just pouring it all out there and nobody's actually getting it, but listen, folks, she's got it inside of her cup, can cite exactly what it is that's inside of her, making sure that if she's hanging out with a friend, Denise, that's keeping her humble, or she's with Wes and he's showing her how to go the extra mile in life, or with Pat and making sure that she sees some of the skills in bringing that full team together to have that hurrah, let's go, we're going to take this hill. And then you have Mark, which is really at the key of what I see it all when it comes to all of these great people coming together, when you assemble the Avengers, right, is having that entire unification key, right? Making sure that there is a unity that comes, where just because we're uniform doesn't mean that we're all the same. And uniformity doesn't necessarily mean unity, but he and all of these incredible people that have poured a little something different inside of your cup have given you something to energize who it is that you are, right? That you're going to be who you are created to be. And inside of your life, there are many different people that come inside of the cafe and get the chance to pour in and sometimes leave with a cup, right?
Yep.
They leave with something full of what it is that you gave them. And that's where it is that succession comes in. That's where it is that legacy is laid out, right? There's more than just a few great things that you did for the industry that are marked. No, the industry is better to where even if you do leave, the industry's better. We're all better because you're here, right? If something comes in a different direction, you get to look at the automotive industry and say, it's better because of me. And I leave here better because of it. And that's a reciprocation in relationship.
Two-way street.
Two-way street. Man, that's so encouraging. One, because there's people that can consistently find something wrong with the auto industry. And I want to encourage everybody. You can find something wrong with anything if you are solely looking for it, right? If you're looking for a problem, you're going to find a problem, especially here, right? We're in Brooklyn. If you're looking for a problem, you can find a problem.
They're everywhere.
Right? But those that are truly about the culture of brewing solutions are finding each other and finding ways to continue to brew together, whether it's on stages, whether it's inside of dealerships, whether it's on a project. We can do it whether we're right there in the same room together, and we can connect remotely like we're doing exactly right now. And there are so many different things that seem to get in the way, right? Right now, today, technically, internet, all the other things, right? They kind of started to get into the way. Even our sound, for those of you that were listening earlier, right? Our sound was still a little bit off, but we're constantly sweeping the room for improvement. But I want to know, in this endeavor and in this run and with these incredible people pouring great things inside of your life, you're set up for success. But it's not always the success that makes the best out of you. And I want to know, what has been the hardest lesson Hannah has had to learn inside of this process up till now?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the biggest lesson is a little bit on what I touched on before with those innate skills that I didn't realize everybody didn't have was, the networking, coming together. That's definitely something that came to me very easily. And I think a variety of companies that I've worked for said, hey, let's go ahead and just sharpen up that toolbox. Let's make you the best connect worker or person that we can have in the field, the friendly face for the company. And let's really hone in on that. And while that did come very easily to me, and I get a thrill out of doing it, secretly, I had always wanted to also work a little bit more on the back end of marketing. I loved getting the stories. I loved meeting the people. I always was able to dabble around the content and the creation. But since I was on the road almost doing 50, 60 flights a year, I didn't think I had an opportunity to really batten down those hard skills. And it's something I always wanted to do. But I had pushed it off for years because of my travel schedule and really what the companies needed and wanted out of me, as well as what they were grooming me to do to be the best. But more recently with COVID, I wasn't traveling anymore. I didn't have the 60 flights a year. And I thought to myself, you have as many days or as many hours in the day as Beyonce. What would she be doing with all this free time? And, someone like her, someone with that drive was, okay, maybe for the last couple of years, you haven't been able to take a deep dive into really the other side of marketing because you've been more of like the B2C. This is your time. Let's figure out the B2B. It's not going to be easy. There's no one doing it with you. You're stuck at home, trapped, during COVID. But what I went ahead and did was finally kind of got the courage to take the next steps into a new marketing world. And I ended up getting about 20 certifications throughout marketing. I always wanted to be seen as the person that could go out there and network, be face-to-face, but I also wanted to be taken very serious on the analytical side. And before I had those certifications, I didn't know if I would be seen as seriously. So that was my goal. All during COVID, every weekend, I would sit down, I would take a course, and I would make sure I could get certified in so that, over the next year or for years to come, I could always be seen sort of in a light that maybe I necessarily hadn't been seen in before. But as I was getting into it, I was like, oh man, can I even do this? Am I going to pass these classes? So over the last, I guess it's less than a year now, or more than a year now with COVID, it kind of changes what your timeline is. I've finally been able to overcome something that I think was holding me back for quite a few years, and taking that next step into my career. So a little bit scary. There is a good outcome though.
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
I mean, yes.
I'm trying to find I'm trying to find the right symbol or thing to hit.
Yeah, there's really,
man,
you're amazing,
yes.
amazing. And I think, and I know that that you did learn something there, and that you're going to keep growing from that, and you're going to just keep pushing for that, and that you're going to show that as an example to others, and for you to be able to step out and try to push yourself a slightly different, that B2B, I know it's different. It's all on you. And you had all this time during coronavirus, you had all these things going on. We know that same feeling, I when listening to you, it's just like, I felt you folks. I want you guys, everyone out there, man, woman, her, he, they, does not matter. If you're watching this right
all
now,
of y'all,
and you don't even have to be, it doesn't even have to be automotive, human beings. I want you to pay attention to what she said. She didn't feel confident in saying that she's, she could be the most, like about the marketing, like exactly to the analytical side of it, right? She wanted to be able to feel confident in order to be able to fill that space. So she did what most people don't do. She educated herself during her free time. She didn't make an excuse. She used that extra time she had. She had the weekend. She said, you know what? I'm going to take a course. I'm going to pass that course. I'm going to get certified. That is huge. That is gigantic. And that is what people who are successful do. People who are successful don't sit there and hope things land in their lap. They don't. They go after those things. They build confidence in themselves. And what you did was you built trust in yourself before anyone else. No one knew you were taking those courses. You were doing it yourself.
That's right.
You were doing that, building trust in yourself, building knowledge in yourself. So when you went out and you spoke, you knew that you were going to speak about what exactly you need to be able to speak about, not making stuff up off the top of your head or making assumptions, which is what a lot of us do. We make assumptions about things, or maybe we just kind of breeze over it very over the top, like not necessarily about the real subject, but just briefly talk about it, right? And we can kind of sound cool when we do that, but really, when you break it down, just
not car guys,
we're not car guys. Car guys and car gals don't do that, right? But what I'm saying is that, like, that to me is just phenomenal. Like, to hear that inside you, that's how you are. I just know that you're going to do that the rest of your life. But the people that are your friends in your network, people that you were grooming, they're going to see that and find out that you didn't just sit on your laurels using skills that you learned 10 years ago to keep pushing you forward today. You have to constantly update that. Like Brad Pascal says right here, Hannah is the gangster. And he's so right. He shared this when I posted this about this interview. He shared it and he talked about you are probably like the most amazing person in automotive right now, and the brightest person, the smartest person. And I don't disagree with him. Listening to you talk right now, seeing how you break things down, how you even talked about the 4 people that you love that helped you through this business, your why, talking about what got you in this business. And now we're talking about a hard lesson you had to learn, or a lesson that you are learning and that you're constantly applying, right? And we all are going to have lessons that we learn every single day, and hopefully we do. If you're not learning anything, you're really not moving anywhere, right? And that really gets me excited, and that really gets me to the last question of the day. And this last question that we have for you, it's about a lot of things in life. We talked about you, how you got in this business, your whys. We talked about your mentors, but we have not brought up what has been your greatest reward so far for everything that you've done up to this point. I know there's going to be some other greater rewards that happen in life, but up to this point, what has been the greatest reward for all the work and all the passion that you put into your life?
Yeah, great question. And when I was thinking about this question, I really thought about that quote. I think it's Margaret Thatcher, and she said, "The greatest reward in life is life itself." And that's really truly how I feel. Over the last year, it's been, the entire world has gone through struggles and changes and challenges. And I think we can all feel that momentum of things getting back to a little bit of a normalcy. For myself too, I feel like I'm coming out of this a bigger, better, brighter person. And I think that the last year had a lot of time for reflection. And just having that life experience, that life itself sort of mentality is that's really the greatest reward. All of those things that we've talked about earlier in the podcast with the Giants and even my parents, those 4 mentors. It's sort of been the ride along the way is getting us to where we are right now. And that's been the most fun thus far. If you ask me again tomorrow, I'll probably be able to give you the same answer.
Oh, wow. It's a heck of an answer,
Yes,
and I love that. And I love where your brain was thinking. It is true. And Margaret Thatcher, what a powerful woman. She's just, somebody that in history that's going to go down, as somebody that really did things, move her, shake her, being a female in her time, especially to be in the power position that she was at overseas in England. Amazing. And absolutely love some Margaret Thatcher. Great quote. Greatest reward in life is life itself, folks. Oh,
put that in your cup
and sip on it. There's no doubt. That was amazing. That is a special brew altogether right there. And then I love how you brought that up. And I love how you brought another powerful woman who's inspirational into this too. That's
what
great.
I loved about that is how she thought about this question before it came up. You know how she did that? She was listening to the Car Guy Coffee podcast and she got herself of another brew and hearing some of the questions that are out there. Car guys, car gals, listen and always understand that the best quality of the coffee is going to come from the quality of the beans. And what it is that we're doing is trying to brew with the best beans in the business.
We are
that are doing what they're doing.
Speaking of great beans, we have Russell Hill. He did have a question and he brought it up twice. So I do want to throw this out. We're going to throw a bonus 5.1.
You ain't ready for this one.
And this one it's just asking you, when you were coming into automotive, did you have any reservations about coming into automotive? Or did you have preconceived notions about what automotive people were like?
That's a great question.
Great, Russ.
No, I had no reservations about automotive, but I also really had no knowledge on what automotive was. So I didn't necessarily come in with a bias saying, oh, I don't want to be like the used, like sleazy car guy. Like that never crossed my mind. I knew I was going to be behind a computer. It was going to be digital, but I think Russ is bringing up a good point. I had been speaking with a group of ladies, Lori Halter, and she had asked me, why don't you think a lot of other women get into automotive? And I think it's because they have this sort of connotation, probably what Russ is speaking to. But really, as mentioned before, automotive has so many different verticals within it. Do you like event planning? Do you like communications, PR, media, like you name it? It's all taking place within this forum of automotive. It's just a matter of being able to say, okay, I don't mind saying I work with cars, whether that's from the tier 1 to the tier 3 level. This is what I want to do. And this is sort of the element or the vertical of work in which I want to stay focused on. It's in automotive. Literally everything you could think of, it's tech, it's AI, it's PR, it's branding. It's all here. It's just peeling away that unfortunate, connotation or preconceived notions that people have about the space itself. But all of the jobs that everyone, every age, every gender is looking for, it's just not as popular or as well known yet. That you can do all of these things here within this space.
Right. Yet. And that's in our country, because in Canada, they have like a university, right? Yeah. You can go to school for automotive.
Especially in those different tier levels, and they have like for all different types of management, and they want to make sure that the automotive is done right. And I believe that is the future of our automotive. It needs to be more educational. It needs to be where people feel like, hey, I can come out of high school, go to school for whether it's a year, 2 years, doesn't matter. Learn some, depending on the level of where you want to go in automotive. And maybe you can go further education, much like anything else in life, being a lawyer, being a doctor. These things are important. What we do in automotive is important, folks. This is it is one of the best industries in the world to be in. It's one of the biggest industries in the world to be in. And it's also one of the most fulfilling industries in the world to be in if you do it right, if you're around the right people. And it is like anything else in life, whether you're working at McDonald's or you're working at an auto dealership, it's about the people you surround yourself with. You can work at a McDonald's and feel like you're working for the best place in the world and never want to leave. And that's because you have good management, good owners, good people around you, a good support team, and everyone is rocking and rolling. You can also go to a McDonald's and it stinks. It's like, it takes forever. They keep telling you to pull up. We'll bring your food out to you. They'll do all these things, right? And it's important that you understand that, folks, that it is about what you put into everything you do. And it is about who you surround yourself with. And having the right people around you is important.
Or I was going to say, even alternatively, I live 3 blocks away from the McDonald's headquarter campus.
All right.
people aren't serving food there. People are behind computers. They're building campaigns. They're building ads. They're,
Different
you know,
levels.
it's exactly like automotive, where when you say McDonald's, you think it's fast food, but you're talking about one of the largest marketing companies in the entire world. So there's so many more elements and layers that you can peel back, just like automotive. I think a lot of people have that car guy, you know, at the used lot in their mind, but it really could also be similar to the McDonald's $1 billion headquarters campus. That's right down the street.
You are so on the money. What a good viewpoint.
There's the side of it that you have, and that's that pure or that innocent look to it of I don't even see it that way.
Right.
And that's what we're encouraging this next generation for this purpose, because they may not see it that way. I know when I came to the automotive industry, I thought that they were pretty cool people that drove awesome cars. They had to figure something out that was right. I didn't know that it was a bad, ugly, dirty, sleazy business unless it was other movies that may have portrayed that. But you know, when I saw all the movies about used cars and bad things about car guys, it's when I came into the business. I didn't see the sleaze until I was.
Those were training videos,
right? Yeah, those were training videos. Here, watch Suckers. You'll learn this.
You'll learn how to sell cars a little better.
But that was, I didn't realize where the sleaze was in the industry until I got behind the curtain, right? And then I saw the bad parts of it, and then we started to say, well, wait a minute. That's not me. I'm not taking that. I want to help this customer out. I want to take care of my family, and I want to have fun doing this. So you know what? I'm going to do that. And yeah, it might be a little bit different. We might act a little not so much like the other guys, but there's a change that's coming. And now when the automotive industry is thought of by the next generation, I want them to have exactly what you have on your heart. I don't see them as that. I see this as a great opportunity. And now you're speaking of all the different corners that there are to the industry that somebody can find themselves really, really growing in. And I love that you brought the correlation, because again, our stigma, or the majority of the stigma that's on McDonald's, is going to be your worst experience at McDonald's, right? Or that worst meal, or that waiting in the line, but forgetting that they're the company everybody knows. That you know them by a couple of arches, right? And they are masters at getting inside of your head. All the time. I don't know when they
we all know it,
right? But they deliver an experience that you see, you hear, you smell, you touch, and you taste to a customer. There's something to that needs to be fused into all of your marketing. Whether you're a salesperson, you can make that part of your marketing inside of the experience with your customer. If you're the dealership, or you're a vendor, right? So I encourage everybody, take something from that, remove that lens of yuck that may be on your viewpoint of the industry, and go back to that innocent side of, oh, wow, there is so many levels to this. It's not just taking the application on the customer that's scared of you. There's so many things that help, and people like marketers like you help to peel those layers of doubt, of mistrust, of uncertainty away from the industry.
And that's why we need you in front of the camera more often, Hannah.
Yes,
because you
more often.
It's not just that you are an example of it, but you know how to explain it to people really well. Like when we interviewed you today, doing this interview, which has been a blessing, and I'm so glad you got to do this with us today. Yes. It's just, you know, hearing how you think and you view, even the point when we brought up McDonald's, you're like, but listen, there's a corporate building and there's so many different levels to their job. There's corporate people there that are they're the marketing masters, they're this masters, there's the people that are making sure that the next, you know, food line that comes out is going to taste right, look right, and be cost efficient. They're going to make sure that the marketing plans across the country are right. There's so many levels to the game in everything we do, folks. We see just skin level. Most of us, we look at the view of a person in automotive industry is a sleazy car guy, or you look at somebody I work for McDonald's, and you think immediately they flip burgers, right? And that's not true at all. There could be a different levels, so many of them, and some of those levels you have to get your master's degree, get your PhD to get these types of jobs, folks. Understand that there is levels to the game, and if you want something bad enough, find what you love. But what I would tell you is get with people that you love. Find people that are doing things that you want to do at a level that you want to do it at, and follow them and be with them and join them, because they will teach you the way. Much like her 4 friends that she talked about when we talked about Mark, Pat, Wesley, and Denise, when we talked about your parents, when we talked about everybody that's helped you come up around the way. And there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be talking about Hannah Lifson. They're going to be talking about her, helping them. And I know there's already plenty out there. So Wow, what a great show this was,
Yes,
Lou.
it was
I'm
good stuff.
super pumped up about today. I'm excited to go out and conquer New York City. We have one more day
Let's go.
left here in the big NYC, the city that never sleeps. Man, are we having fun. Hannah, thank you so much. We're going to have to come up to Chicago and go up there and have some
Yes.
Chicago style
Please
pizza.
do.
That's right. That's right. There's one thing I do love in Chicago. It's them dogs. I love me a
Dogs.
Chicago
Loves them
dog.
Chicago dogs. They're good. Chicago's a fun food town too, and I love it.
Yes,
So,
yes.
but absolutely, Hannah, is there anything you want to say before we get out of here today?
No, just a big thank you for having me on the show. I had an awesome time. And like I said, good energy brings back good energy. And I think that's how I know you guys.
Yes,
100%.
that's exactly right. That's so
floating on that
exactly
same
right.
frequency, my friend.
Loving it. Man, car guys, car gals, this has been an incredible interview with a great solutionary. I want to encourage each and every one of you, take a page out of the book of Hannah today, right? As she has broke down the level of honor and innocence to operate inside of this industry, because in the end, we are all trying to find a way to help each other. We are all trying to find a way to upshift and uplift. And that's why we found each other today. Our energies between Hannah and the certified solutionaries, we found each other by our positive promotion of people. And as that has happened, you can continue to find the people that you're supposed to run with. You can continue to forgive, focus, and fly when things go the way they're supposed to go, right? And you can also find a way to make the industry better at whatever level you're at, wherever you are. Be determined to make this place and the world around you better. We encourage you all, go be the very, very, very best versions of you. Today, you have had Hannah drop some incredible
Hannah,
stuff
before you
inside
go,
of your
is
cup.
there, how do everyone get a hold of you?
LinkedIn. Please contact me on LinkedIn.
Okay,
It's Hannah
LinkedIn.
Lifson.
Okay.
There's
Right
only
there,
one of
the
me.
spelling of her name.
Very simple. The only one on there. So
It'll pop
that's
right
how I
up.
found her. Yeah. So reach out to her, folks. If you guys, after this, you don't know how to, just reach out to me or Lou. We'll get you connected with Hannah. Hannah can help you a lot. She's absolutely busy. So message her and she'll get back with you. And I'll promise you it'll be worth your time. She can definitely share some ideas and insights that will blow your mind. Oh, not to mention she can give you some tips. Show her your video and she'll let you know how it is, right?
Yes.
So
for everybody that has been participating with us today, this has been an incredible morning with a great solutionary. You all have been blessed. If you're just now tuning in, make sure that as we end this live, you go back and go get you some more of that and listen up to what is cooking inside of this kitchen. We are so excited to be live in New York City with our friend, Miss Hannah Lifson. I am Lou Ramirez, the car guy.
and I'm Frelin Arts, the subprime hero.
And you have been Brewing Solutions on the Car Guy Coffee Podcast. Make sure that you are an encouragement to the world around you. Make sure that you forgive, focus, and fly so that you can keep growing. Thank you for joining us today. Have an incredibly caffeinated day. Change your world and change that culture. We love you all. Peace. Keep jamming that out.
Oh, before we go, I got to tell you this real quick.
Wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more. Before we roll,
Yes, we got to let you guys know that she
we got to tell you a
is
secret. She is
100%
CGC approved. All right, so folks, we'll see y'all later. You guys have a good one. We appreciate you. Hannah, if you want to hang out for 1 second, we just want to talk to you after this is done.
Let's do it.
We'll see y'all.